Hello everyone, I am back, and it's been so long that a new Forza Motorsport has released. Now we're going to hop right into it. This is just a quali lap for a short online ranked race. I decided to build my own fake GT3 car out of the Porsche. And honestly, it's not too bad, just missing a few of the error-y bits from the actual GT3 version that's used on track. But let's get right into it. Corner 1 is a bit rough. I don't really have similar gearing to the GT3 version, which I've been driving a lot. Along with that, there's just overall less downforce because I wanted to keep the fancy Porsche rear wing. But what this car does lack in terms of downforce, it does get it in top speed. Due to the fact that it's not as airy as the GT3 version, I could put in a little bit more power, a little bit wider wheels, so in those long swinging corners I should have the advantage and just be able to get out of the corners faster. The only downside of building your own car is, as you can see, I had to get to about level 30 to get it ready for S1, which is what this online rank lobby is for. But besides all the technical talk, you'll see that this car is overall pretty balanced and not too far away from its GT3 version. As you'll see here, I do have to let off because of that lack of downforce, but I basically hold the power down the full corner. But besides all of that, we're putting in a pretty decent lap with this car, considering the fact I didn't throw on the full Forza Aero kit, just the little front bumper part, because it kinda looks like the iRacing Porsche Cup car, I believe, and I really do enjoy looking at the back of it as I drive. But with all of that said, let's see where we place. There's no other times right now, so that's going to be a P1. Very easy. Very demure. Now unfortunately we did get bested during qualifying by 3 other cars, but you can clearly see why, as there's just 2 top speed demons in first and second place. But we get a good launch, able to pass the Corvette on the outside, but as I said before, we are not matching the top speed of those prototype cars in front of us, as we get dive bombed on the inside by another one, and you can see they clearly lack the grip just to do any turning. But I'm going to try my best to hold my position, gonna play a little bit of defense, try to sneak up the inside of third place if I can, but I just can't keep up with these prototype cars, barely able to keep up with the Lamborghini on the side, and I do get overtaken, but I can see all the guys in front are having very clear grip problems through these long corners. And it was around this point I realized I may not win the race, but I'm going to have absolutely no chance on that front stretch, so every move I make is going to be on this half of the track, just trying to get as much grip and power through these corners as I can before we open up into that long straight. Or even if I can just get into the draft of these cars, that would separate me from the pack behind, just giving me a few more extra miles per hour. And I'm pretty sure all the cars in front of me are also lifting, so I guess in a sense we all have a little bit too much power and not enough grip, me because of the rear wing and them because of just raw horsepower. But overall we have lost a position, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we can build a gap, maybe someone in front of us gets a penalty or two, and as I said before, we are getting some slipstream from the Lamborghini in front of us. And from the looks of it, we may even be gaining. Oh, never mind, we are losing, but it's barely any. So that's nice to know. As long as I can stay in the slipstream of the car ahead, I may not gain time, but as you can see from corner 1, I was basically right behind him. Along with that, he doesn't really seem to notice that I'm behind him. I see no defensive moves, just him trying to get out the corner as quick as possible. And as I predicted before, he's really not going to be able to pull away on us. And he even makes some mistakes dipping a little bit into the grass. So all that power can't really come out until we get to the first half of the track. And I was debating on whether taking the medium or soft tires. I know the softs would last 3 laps at a minimum, but that 4th lap would be extremely painful as the Lamborghini in front of us makes a mistake, gets on the gas too early, goes straight into the grass. We overshoot the corner a little bit, but we get the pass done. Now, while the Lamborghini has dirty tires, I'm going to try to run as fast as I can, create as much of a gap as possible before we get to that front stretch. We have about a half a second gap. Can see if we can maybe stretch that to a full second if he makes any more mistakes. Or maybe it would be smarter to let him pass and then we get the slipstream to catch up to the cars in front, but I wasn't really thinking about that in this moment. As we do lock up the front wheels a little bit, I decide to ride the curb just to save a little bit of extra time, get on the power earlier, and we do end up making a gap of 0.7, which slowly cuts down as we go down this straight. But I know he has the worst braking going into corner 1, and so I'm just able to keep the gap there, even increasing it temporarily to 0.8, while he's just struggling to find grip. In fact, we even have a full second now. If we can get more than that, he'll be fully out of the slipstream and we'll just have to rely on raw power and handling to catch back up. And so really this has become a battle for P3 as the leaders I've just pulled away with incredible speed. Maybe I doubted them before. So right now it's just going to be a battle of defense, keeping this Lamborghini behind me and out of the slipstream. Going into this corner, we're going to try to not lock up, but we run a little bit wide. May even have to hold off on the power because this car does feel heavy when you get off of the racing line. And you can see that one little mistake has already cut out 4/10, and he's right on me. I try to play a little defensive, go into the corner slightly slower just so he can't shoot it up inside, and we're going to just shoot out as fast as possible. Unfortunately, we do have to lift for this section because we don't have that rear arrow, but if we can get on the brakes just good enough and put it in an awkward position, he won't be able to shoot it up in the inside. And at this point I was pretty worried because we have not really broken away from the pack of the other unupgraded cars, which are close to S1 but not really at the top of it. So I wasn't really sure. Maybe the Porsche wasn't going to hold up for that final lap where everyone's right behind me in the stream down the straight. And as I'm aware of that, I try to break the slipstream, just staying on the left, then swinging back to the right for the braking, which I know I really don't have to worry about when compared to the cars behind me. But now it's a battle of my tires are slightly more worn. I'm going to start feeling it. I just have to get the power down, get all these corners correct, and as you can see, the cars are already sliding as we're about 50% tire health on all around, and even the smallest mistakes is allowing this Lamborghini behind me to catch up. As we do lock up going into this corner, just going to try to recover as much as possible. I decide not to defend, just to focus on getting the power down. As we're slipping even more, we can't really ride the curbs anymore. And so I'm really just deciding in my mind how close does he have to get before I start playing defensive, holding the inside. And lucky for us, he does seem to make a severe mistake and even get a penalty. So if we can just keep it clean, keep putting the power down even with this slightly worse tire wear, he would have to pass us, then gain half a second to get the position. And so I'm going to try my best. We do run a little bit deep, and I'm pretty sure we've secured P3, which is not bad. We started in P4. Unfortunately, there's just no catching up with those horsepower demons in front of us, but we did manage to hold off a few cars. And so we're going to bring home a P3 with no real fear of anyone catching up onto me with this long straight and that penalty.